4-piece gigantic Japanese iris live plant collection. It is the biggest of all irises, and you are getting 4 different gorgeous colors that you will never find at your local garden center. This works out to $7 each. These are the type of flowers that get photographed, you said, Philip, more than any other in any garden. They are as long-lived as daylilies, but they'll bloom before. And you're getting each of these 4 colors. They will be labeled for you when you get them. And they're all ready for you to plant. This is how they will arrive. And then I just need your advice on this one. Where do we put these? How do we plant them? What do they need? 200 orders already placed.
Well, these flew out last year, and then it was all over except for the crying because everybody wanted them, and it is just glorious. When these are blooming, you don't notice anything else in the garden. They like a lot of sun. They will grow in average garden soil, but if you've got an area that is so wet that everything rots, nothing works, say a drain comes out there or you have standing water there, these will love it. They love the wet areas. And you see these irises, these water irises essentially, in Egyptian hieroglyphics and things like that because they grew in the edge of the Nile. But just gorgeous flowers, 4 different colors. They're bare root. These are going to get established this year with their beautiful I call it like Moses in the bulrushes foliage, because the foliage is like an ornamental grass, and the nice big divisions like that, you'll see, you'll get blooms. These are fabulous.
So this is how they arrive. How deep will we plant these?
Well, I see it in your hand, and you see the little green tip at the top. Just plant it where that's sticking out so that they're kind of shallow, and you don't have to dig it deep down. You can spread those roots out sideways like this.
Oh, wow. And should we do that?
Spread them all out sideways. Don't try to dig, a 10-inch deep hole to get those roots to go straight down. They are surface roots, so spread them all out. You don't need to do much with them. Water them in and stand back. And I plant mine about 16 inches apart. And I've got them down in my bog garden. I've also got some in the regular flower bed in the front of the daylilies because they are straight up. They'll get about 30, 36 inches tall, but they're straight up like an ornamental grass. Really beautiful foliage. And you mentioned cameras and photographers. My friend Janice Marie, who used to sell cameras on QVC, would come over to take her pictures of the Japanese iris to use for herself or her cameras. That's how hot these flowers are. You'll love them.
Would these go well in the barrel, in the new barrel that you have for us?
Yes, they're great in the barrel because even when they're not blooming, they bloom in early summer. When they're not blooming, the foliage is so pretty, and it also gives you great texture. I've been known to go out and just cut the foliage during the summer to add to my flower arrangement for texture. And they will come back every year, and you've got these 4 different colors. You go to the nurseries, and they're hard to find. They're not inexpensive when you do find them. And it's generally a little plant in a big pot. We're sending you without the pot, so they're easy to plant. And that's how they look when they're all blooming. I mean, it really is spectacular looking. And if you stand on a little short ladder and shoot down on the flowers, it literally looks like the top of a circus tent because they're perfectly symmetrical. That's the way I like to photograph them the best, is looking straight down on the top of them.
And you're getting each one of these colors, that beautiful pink lady, which is a pinkish purple, kind of like a violet pink. And then you're getting also the darker purple, and then the 2 in the middle kind of have a mix in there of whites and cream colors as well. So will each of those be labeled for us so that we know which one is which?
Yes, that's exactly the way it'll work. But I put this collection together because I wanted it to have somewhat of a Monet watercolor bleed to it. See, the colors bleed into one another, so it's really nice and soft and beautiful. But what I like about these is that they don't break off. If I had storms in here and they don't break off, some things break off in storms.
Right.
These just sway like that and take care of little Moses, who's nestled in there somewhere, I'm sure. But gorgeous flowers. And what I'll do too, because there'll be multiple blooms coming up on the stalk, is I will cut just the bloom, not the stalk. And I will float them in a bowl like we used to float gardenias and camellias in the deep south, but they're beautiful when you float them like that.
500 orders placed. This is a hot pick on the day. These are brand new, really special. You are not going to find these in your, regular garden store, and this is the only order of the season. They will ship to you when they are ready to plant. So if you are new to the garden world, welcome on in. We're going to make it easy for you. We're learning straight from Phillip how to best care for these. And if you ever have questions later on, you can go to his Instagram, you can go to his Facebook and ask him, and he will help you. I love that about QVC. We learn together and we grow together, literally grow together. Look how stunning these are. They're so high. So I'm standing next to this one. This is about how high they're going to get, and you're getting all 4 of those really hard to find colors.
Yes, and it does look like a collection of orchids on blooms. These are fully perennial. They will come back in the coldest part of the country. Also, they don't mind the deep heat. They do need a light frost, so they're not really for, say, Miami. But all other areas, it is a widespread perennial, and it will be something exceptional. You know how you've got a signature piece of jewelry? That's what this will be for your garden.
Yes. I have something similar to this alongside, of course, it was planted before we got there, and I've never even touched them. They go alongside our driveway, and they just come back year after year after year. I'm so surprised. And that's what I love about these perennials. You pay $28 for a set of 4, that works out to $7 each, for something that would be almost impossible to find anywhere else. And then forever. I've lived there for 2.5 years. The people before me lived there for 10 years. I don't know when they planted them, but they come back year after year after year. They more than pay for themselves in the beauty that they provide for you.
Also, you don't want to have things that everybody else has. You can have a lot of common stuff that is beautifully situated, but you've got to have those wow bits that people say, what is that?
Yeah.
And it also needs to be something that is easy. If you're a non-gardener, these are very easy. Just put it in an area that gets a lot of sun, and it will reward you for knowing not much. So that's what I like.
So make sure that they get their fertilizer once. You're just planting them and watering them a lot. How often should we water them at the beginning?
In the beginning, I water mine thoroughly about once every 5 days.
Okay. And then when they plant them, are these sticking up out of the ground?
The green. Yes, not the root part, just the tip part.
Just the tip. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you see where the roots are emanating from the bottom. Just spread those roots out as we described earlier, but in case some of you missed it, spread those roots out laterally and then fill in the dirt around it. Listen, these will grow in heavy clay soil, so you don't even have to have great soil. You just have to have soil. It could even be in my whiskey barrel. They're fabulous in that whiskey barrel.
Those whiskey barrels are now going to get a presentation because we showed them and 300 orders already placed. In terms of the 4-piece gigantic Japanese iris set that we just presented, it's a hot pick on the day. That 1,000 orders have just been placed. Now coming up in just a bit, Phillip, you're known for your sun patience, and these are your favorites. They're coming up in less than 10 minutes. These are the absolute most saturation of color you're going to get.